For those of you who don't know me, I am Captain Jen Harrington. I am Hawaii Wing's Public Affairs Officer and the Deputy Commander for Cadets for West Oahu Composite Squadron. This evening, we are taking a few minutes to celebrate the successful completion of Hawaii Wing's first ever virtual CyberCamp. I'd like to give just a brief overview of CyberCamp, starting with what can be called its bigger sister, Cyber Patriot. Cyber Patriot is one of several initiatives of the Air Force Association aimed at proliferating the cybersecurity education of America's youth. It is AFA's National Youth Cyber Defense Competition, where middle and high schoolers use their skills to secure virtual networks. Cyber Patriot training events run from July through November. Competition rounds occur in November, December, and January. Again, these are national events with the teams being ranked along the way. So in March, the best of the best teams get an all expenses paid trip to Bethesda, Maryland for the in-person national finals. CyberCamp is a week-long training event for middle and high schoolers. And there are two levels for that camp, standard and advanced. So the standard camp is designed to be an introduction to cybersecurity, while the advanced camp is geared towards participants who have previous CyberCamp or Cyber Patriot experience. My intention for running a CyberCamp this summer was to provide Hawaii Wing cadets and senior members with exposure to AFA's cyber defense education program and competition, with the hopes that the experience would embolden all of our members to pursue cybersecurity training at the squadron level. Various Hawaii Wing squadrons have had teams participate in Cyber Patriot. So these are just a few photos of the Hickam Composite Squadron team back in 2016. That was my first time registering and administering a Cyber Patriot team. So that's what it can look like in person. This, what we're seeing on each other's screens right now, that's basically what it looks like virtually. A bunch of talking heads and, you know, so as far as visuals went, nobody who wasn't there really missed a whole lot. As for the active participation photos that I, as a public affairs officer, like to get. Anyway, there has never, to my knowledge, been a unified wing-wide, wing-driven effort to advance the cyber aspect of our aerospace education mission. So we've been doing a great job with aviation education through our flying programs and the ground-based training. Rocketry has taken off, pun intended, both at the squadron and wing level. And most recently, thanks to Major Giles, our Wing Aerospace Education Director, we've hosted, recorded, and posted on our website a 3-part series dedicated to furthering our knowledge of various aspects of space exploration. The numbers for our CyberCamp. We had 33 cadets register for the camp, including 1 Hawaii Wing cadet who is geographically located on the US mainland. Not all cadets were able to complete the camp for various reasons. We had 10 or 11 senior members who showed initial interest in the camp, 4 of whom stayed on to become our camp instructional and support staff. Another of the senior members participated largely as a student, which is exactly what I had hoped more senior members would be able to do. We also had 1 community member who is a cybersecurity professional and was recruited, so to speak, as a technical mentor. Before I introduce you to the teams and our staff, I first need to introduce you to our supporters. So first of all, we have the Hawaii CyberCamp team. I think most of you have heard me speak of them before. This group of volunteers has been helping coordinate cybercamps in the state of Hawaii for several years. This year, they coordinated 18 cybercamps, including ours. The Hawaii CyberCamp team lead is retired Air Force Colonel Reynold Hioki, and he
just happy to be here. Thanks.
Thank you, Colonel Hioki. Appreciate you being here. We also have Mika Simpson. She was one of the session coordinators.
Hi.
Mika, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Okay, so here are the Hawaii CyberCamp team members. By working with the team, we have gained a local partner sharing our interest in helping to further youth cybersecurity education across the state of Hawaii. The team acted as our liaison with the AFA, guided me administratively, facilitated and will continue to facilitate the sharing of best practices, and continues to provide useful information such as available scholarships and other educational opportunities, which I will share with the wing. This is the first year that virtual cyber camps have been held, and the Hawaii CyberCamp team was poised to provide technical support as well. Finally, and I did not know that this was part of the deal when I initially connected with Colonel Hioki through our very own Lieutenant Colonel Ed Arias. I did not know this was going to happen, but the team has provided generous funding that allows us to express our appreciation for our staff and to present our students with what I hope will spur them on in their cyber education. Via the Hawaii CyberCamp team, we have two sponsors we should also recognize: the Hawaii chapter of ICS Squared and AFCIA and the Young AFCIANs. I cannot directly speak to the depth and breadth of their sponsorship, and I wish we had more time this evening, but whatever they have provided to enable Hawaii CyberCamp team to support us the way they have deserves our gratitude and appreciation. In addition to Colonel Hioki, I want to make special mention of Hawaii CyberCamp team members, Mr. Thomas Lee of Wahiawa High School, and retired Air Force Colonel Kurt Chigeta. They could not make it tonight, but these gentlemen were specifically assigned to support our camp. And because of them, I felt that half of my work was done for me. And that brings us to our instructional and support staff. We had Major Martin Giles, our Aerospace Education Director, Captain Pat Mulligan, Deputy Commander for Seniors at Maui County Composite, First Lieutenant Daryl Ng, Commander for Maui County, and Second Lieutenant Brian Lynch, who is the IT Officer for St. Louis Crusaders Composite. If you know these gentlemen, you know they're active members wearing multiple hats within our organization, not just the one duty position that I mentioned, but multiple duties or areas of responsibility. They are among a core group of people that really make things happen in our wing. For CyberCamp, they provided instruction and helped answer questions that I would not have been able to answer. In case you didn't know, I'm not a cybersecurity expert, but I just feel called to help grow as many cyber defenders as possible. So without these gentlemen being interested, supportive, encouraging, and actively participating, I might have lost the courage to push through with this, as it felt like uncharted territory in our wing. And there were many uncertainties related to having it done as a virtual camp. Major Giles, Captain Mulligan, Lieutenant Ng, Lieutenant Lynch, it is always great to work with you all. And what makes it great is your enthusiasm, professionalism, and sense of humor. So on behalf of our CyberCamp cadets, and from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
And thank you, Jen, because you kick butt. You made this thing happen. So thank you for making it happen and being there and doing what you do.
Mahalo, Pat.
Jen for president. Jen for president.
Excellent job.
But I'm
Sorry,
not.
that's my teacher, so I'm gonna need that.
Thank you so much. Our guest instructor was Mr. Preston Hall. So Mr. Hall is a cybersecurity professional and a veteran with whom I had the pleasure of working while I was employed at Marino High School. At that time, Mr. Hall generously volunteered his technical expertise, time, energy, and some equipment to our newly formed Cyber Patriot team. It was the second time in my CAP career that I had registered a Cyber Patriot team. You saw the pictures from Hickam, and all the technical stuff was still way over my head. It's still way over my head. But anyway, Mr. Hall was introduced to me by a cadet parent, and he was a godsend. You know, now I hadn't had an opportunity to speak with him in quite a long time when I contacted him about helping out with this summer cyber camp. And to be honest, I wouldn't have been surprised if he had found some excuse to not get involved. After all, I did abandon him and our pet project when I had resigned from the school the semester after we got it up and running. I am also not surprised, however, that he did agree to help. I think that all the cadets and senior members who participated in the camp last week recognized Mr. Hall's enthusiasm and drive to help our youth understand cybersecurity principles and practices when he stayed some 2 hours later on Tuesday and nearly 4 hours later on Thursday after the camp day was officially over to prepare the cadets for the mock competition on Friday. Mr. Hall, on behalf of the camp participants and Hawaii Wing Civil Air Patrol, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I couldn't do it without you guys.
So we have some special gifts to be mailed to each of these gentlemen in gratitude for their support of our camp. And now here's the part all the cadets have been really eager to hear about. They want to know which team won the mock competition on Friday. And I apologize to the ops team. I'm going to go over time. I apologize. Okay. The problem is I haven't really described the competition for those who don't know what it is. So basically, there are a couple of virtual networks, and the cadets are supposed to use what they learned earlier in the week about Windows 10 and Linux security to find and fix vulnerabilities in the system. They get points for what they fix. They lose points for doing things that make the system more vulnerable. And then the faster they fix things, the higher they rank in the overall scoring system. And that's how it works in the Cyber Patriot competition as well. Now, most folks are familiar with Windows, but not the same can be said of Linux, where finding and fixing vulnerabilities not only depends on your knowledge of where to find them, but also how to get to the information you need using basically computer coding. So that light bulb went off for me this past week. All right, so those of you who are dependent on icons, or those of us who are dependent on icons, would most likely struggle to keep up with these young men and women. To make things even more exciting, because we were in a virtual environment ourselves using Zoom breakout rooms for each team member was assigned a team ID. So it wasn't just the team was assigned a team ID, each team member was assigned a team ID. So unlike an actual Cyber Patriot competition, we were able to see how each individual was doing. So who ended up playing? Let me get that slide up for you. All right, so here's our team members. And they were somewhat randomly assigned, but it's difficult to assess each individual's grasp of these concepts in a virtual environment when some folks are more verbal than others. I mean, we see that in all of our meetings, right? Sometimes people don't speak up and you just have no idea what's going on in their heads. And it turns out that some of these folks are geniuses. So here's a photo of them after, for those who could be on video, here's a photo of them after our competition, all smiles and probably a lot of relief to have that over with. And now if I had everything set up correctly, I'd have a drum roll. And here are the team rankings. So our first place team was team 1, then followed by team 4, team 3, and team 2. These cadets picked their own team leaders, and if you paid any attention to the slide, they weren't necessarily the highest ranking person in the team. And if you were to visit each team breakout room, you would be very proud yourselves of how they worked together. Now, at first, they were sort of all kind of in their own head, their own space, and they're just working. And the scores were reflecting that. So when we went in and reminded them that if they worked together, their overall team scores would be higher, then suddenly all the scores went up really, I mean, a lot. It was great to see. So when Mr. Lee, remember he's our session coordinator, emailed me about our scores, he said that he was really impressed with how high they were. So you cadets should be proud of yourselves for all the hours that you've put in, all the hard work that went into it, everything that you've learned. I'm super proud of you, and your hard work really showed. I'm almost done, folks. I needed like an hour. The hardest part of doing this was boiling it down into 15 minutes, and I totally failed. I'm sorry. Okay, so here are our high scores. And you'll notice that they didn't all come from Team 1. So cadets, you'll be getting your shirt sometime in the next week. And also your little incentive prize, I have a whole stack of these cyber badges for you. Now, not all of you are eligible to wear them yet. I am going to be sending them to you, but you're not going to be able to wear them until you've completed all the requirements for them. So I have these beautiful certificates for all of you for the completion of your camp.